Taekookers!
Finally, Cookie's solo album has been released. I'm really excited about that, especially all the songs they are really good and really cool. But even so, honestly, at first, when I just listened to the teasers for all the songs, I immediately fell in love with the song Hate You because it was really good. But when Standing Next to You was released, wow, it was really cool and great because of Cookie's skills as an idol and world pop star, all he saw in this song. I really admire him, starting from his vocals, which are very good and qualified, then his choreo, which is so interesting and full of skill. Also, his visuals, which are very handsome, stunning, and charming. Wow, very great and amazing Cookie, my sweetheart. Now, I understand why they or Cookie choose Standing at You as a title track because it's indeed really classy. And we know Cookie worked so hard for his solo album and gave us a truly amazing masterpiece. So please give Cookie lots of love, support, and streaming order because Cookies deserves it all. Wouldn't we feel so happy when we saw Cookie so happy to get a lot of trophies from his hard work and also our support?
대단했네. 감사합니다. 여러분들 덕분에.
By the way, oh my god, I feel like we have a lot to discuss regarding Taekook recent moments, and we will discuss all that together. Let's go to Cookers. When Cookie released his previous singles, we know at the time they seems really support that. Even even though he was also so busy because he was also preparing his solo album, but they still took the time to be there to support Cookie. They really sold and gave full support to Cookie, like one of them, about how sweet it is and how romantic they treats Cookie at listening party garden at the time. Even though we haven't been able to see the video directly from the picture that was first shared by Jimin on his Insta, we know that they was attend at the listening party garden and even showed his important role or the status of his close relationship with Cookie. As a lover, when our lover is celebrating or hold a celebration party for an important moment for him, where many guests or friends of our lover, there we will always be nearby and also show our status or close relationship with our lover so that everyone knows that who was the center of attention at the time was our lover. So it is same with they, especially here, besides being a person who has an event, which of course is the center of attention, Cookie is also multi-talented and Cookie is an idol who especially know his achievements are truly amazing. So it's not surprising that he is also so proud and so supportive of Cookie. And because they were so in love and so proud at the time, they even hugged Cookie tightly and kissed Cookie in a very tight and clingy position. The way they kiss Cookie, he looks so close, even praising him. His nose looks so pressed to Cookie's cheeks, and tail so pursed his lips to Cookie's cheeks. And if we pay attention how Cookie responds to this when Tae hugs and kisses him, it's so obvious that Cookie spontaneously closes his eyes because he really enjoys it with a happy smile on his lips. Seeing his expressions, Cookie looked so happy and comfortable with what they was doing. If Taekook was just a friend, they would definitely be uncomfortable doing that, especially in front of many people. One of them, especially Cookie as the party being kissed and the center of attention at the time, he will definitely refuse and not like being treated like that. Many people who deny about Taekook and say because they are like brothers, it's natural for Cookie to be treated like that. If as brothers, no matter how close they are, especially the contact share, they are not siblings, or even if they are siblings, when Tae hugs and kisses him as tightly and intimately and in front of many people, Cookie will likely refuse him so that he wouldn't be treated like that in front of many people to maintain his image that he has matured and doesn't want to be considered like a child again. As we can see here about how the boy reacts when a friend or even someone they consider like a brother approaches, hugs, and want to kiss them like that. If we look at their expression and behavior as someone who is about to be kissed by their best friend or someone they consider to be a brother, apparently they still feel uncomfortable because the person who is going to kiss them is a boy or fellow boy. And in BDS is like that. Even though their relationship is so close, they also feel uncomfortable if they receive treatment like that from other members. This include the cook, who when they receive treatment like that from other members, they also feel uncomfortable. But that doesn't apply to the cook towards each other. When they give kisses to each other between them, no one seemed to show any uncomfortable reactions at all, but instead showing happy and shyly reactions. And even here, we can see how enthusiastic the cook or Cookie is. When in the camp, the cook became a team. Cookie was seen without wasting any time, immediately pulling Tay closer to him, even to the point that, oops, They accidentally kiss. This could be because it really was an accident, or perhaps they did it on purpose because each of their instinct worked spontaneously. The reason is when Cookie brought his face closer to Tay at the time, Tay also immediately wanted to bring his face closer to Cookie's face. So finally, the kiss happened. We know that from Taekook's reaction, where Tay looks shyly after that. While Cookie, who looked like he was pulling his lips back after previously touching Tay's face. And what looks suspicious here, Taekook doesn't even feel uncomfortable after the accident kiss, but on contrary, Taekook looks so happy. And Taekook criteria is just a friend, like a brother or even a sibling, means no one is in sync, right? Because they both look equally happy and comfortable with each other. And criteria like that are included in the criteria for a couple, where they will feel very happy, comfortable, and even flirt because they get extra sweet and romantic treatment from their boyfriends, who is so caring and so support them. Even though here Cookie doesn't hug Tay because of many reasons, besides that, we don't know what actually happened at the time. Actually, Cookie also hugged Tay, but when the picture was taken, Cookie had already released it. Or maybe the picture was taken before he returned his hug. Or indeed, Cookie didn't return his hug to avoid problems with the company. It could also be that Cookie didn't do it because he was afraid that people who saw him look at him or thought that if he will come or return this hug, they will think that they or they could were too vulgar or loud in showing if their relationship in front of everyone or in front of the camera, whereas Cookie's principle is relationship with Tay is not for the camera. Just try if at the time Cookie was seen returning this hug and combined with the reaction or expression on Cookie's face, who closed his eyes while smiling happily, surely people who saw him would immediately think, why is Taekook so brave to show their intimacy in public? Maybe that kind of thoughts crossed Cookie's mind, but beside all that, actually, he was so happy, proud, and flattered by their sweet treatment. And Cookie was still able to hide his response to what they did from the camera. So, I emphasize once again, if Cookie doesn't hug Tay back, it doesn't mean Cookie doesn't like Tay doing that, but quite the opposite, because Cookie looks like he really enjoys this hug and kisses. Besides that, when Taekook was taking pictures together with other members, Kookie didn't hesitate to embrace Tae because it wouldn't be noticed too much by people because there he was also embracing other members. Cookie felt more free to express himself and responded to Tae at the time with a so happy feelings because Tae was always near him. And of course, Cookie won't reviews about it because what Tae is doing is a privilege towards his boyfriends, which in this case is himself. And from the picture shared, we can see how Tae shows his role as a lover or person closer to Cookie who has privilege towards Cookie. After all, the privilege of the lover is that he has the right to hug him tightly and kiss him or his lover in front of many people without feeling embarrassed and awkward because that is his right and everyone knows about it. So it's legal for Tae to do that to Cookie. And for Tae, of course, Tae was also very happy with that moment. At first, we did know that moment is from Jimin, but then Tae himself didn't want to miss sharing the moment on his Insta, as if he wanted to confirm that the pictures were indeed true. Tae even zoomed in on the picture, perhaps so we could see more clearly what happened at the time. At the party, of course, Cookie also invited people Cookie knew, as well as his close friends and especially BTS members. Even though everyone who came to the party was definitely people Cookie knew or were Cookie's close friends, but their relationship was only limited friends or brothers. So, when they took pictures or videos, their position towards Cookie was mostly just embracing each other, or if there's more than that, at most it's just hugging. So, at most that's all. So, of course, it will be very different for the right lover or Tejas. Even for Jimin and Anjun here, they know their position or status towards Cookie. So they always bring Tae closer to Cookie, and Cookie or Taekook feel so happy about that. Or maybe it's Taekook's own desire where they always want to be close and clingy. Because if he looks, even when Taekook wants to take picture of the two of them, their poses are always so clingy. For their solo album project, Taekook really supports each other. Even though Cookie sometimes doesn't directly show it on social media, but he really supports it. And for Tae, who is braver and louder in showing their relationship, especially in this case, when Cookie's solo album project was released, they really showed his support for Cookie, that he is Cookie's main supporter. Even in this case, they also asked his friends who also knew Cookie, or more precisely, they had introduced him to Cookie. I mean, like Uga, where when they had an appointment to meet or hang out with Uga or some youngs from Uga, they brought Cookie as his special person to Uga and introduced Cookie to Uga youngs, and until finally, after that, Cookie is often seen being invited by Tae when Tae hangs out with Uga. And for these other friends beside Uga, in my opinion, the process of how Cookie finally got to know this friend was the same as the process of Cookie's introduction to Uga. Because if you look at listening party Gordon, there are several of these friends who attend the party, and even for example, if they hasn't had time to introduce his other friends to Cookie, they will introduce them to Cookie at the party. But the most important thing is about how they ask his friend to support Cookie's solo album. When Cookie did live to talk about his album Golden, Tae, who was usually also there with Cookie or accompanying Cookie at the time, even showed his presence at Cookie's house. But about this, I will discuss it in a spirit video. When Cookie was in Suchita, where Cookie also talked about his solo album, they also came to Suchita to support Cookie. But for this, I will also discuss it in a spirit video. By the way, honestly, I was very shocked and very worried about this comment at the time. But fortunately, we can be a little relieved when we see that they is starting to get better. Hopefully, they or Taekook will always be happy, healthy, and always under God protection. And so do we all, my besties, Taekookers. Hopefully, we all stay happy, healthy, and also always under God's protection.
See you next time. Taekook forever. Forever.